What if I told you that your good intentions, your careful watering, and your expensive fertilizer might be the very things that are killing your strawberry plants? It sounds impossible, right? But for 90% of home gardeners, it's the shocking truth. You pour your heart into those little plants, dreaming of sweet, juicy berries, only to be met with yellow leaves, sad-looking fruit, or even total plant death. In this video, we are going to expose the 8 most common yet deadly mistakes that are sabotaging your strawberry patch. And I promise you, some of these will completely surprise you. Stick around because you need to check your garden for these errors right now. Before we dive into the catastrophic errors, let's understand the strawberry plant itself. These plants are surprisingly resilient. They want to survive, and they definitely want to produce fruit for you. That's their entire purpose. But they are also a bit like a sensitive artist. They have very specific needs that are often completely misunderstood. We treat them like other garden vegetables or common perennials, but that's our first fundamental mistake. Their shallow root systems, the unique function of their central crown, and their particular feeding habits make them a special case. Understanding their basic nature is the key to avoiding the pitfalls we're about to discuss. Think of this as learning their love language. Most of us are shouting at them with a megaphone when all they need is a gentle whisper. The first and arguably most common path to strawberry ruin is through water. It's a classic case of killing with kindness. Gardeners either drown their plants or let them die of thirst. Because strawberries have shallow roots, they are incredibly sensitive to soil moisture levels. Too much water, especially in heavy clay soil, will suffocate the roots. They can't breathe. This leads to the dreaded root rot, a fungal disease that turns healthy roots into black, mushy decay. The signs are deceptive. The plant's leaves will wilt and turn yellow, making you think it needs more water, so you water it again, accelerating its demise. On the flip side, too little water is just as bad. Those shallow roots dry out in a flash, especially on a hot, windy day. The plant will look wilted, the leaves will get crispy edges, and any fruit you do get will be small and hard. The solution is consistency. The soil should feel like a well-wrung-out sponge, not a swamp and not a desert. A great illustration of this is the finger test. Stick your finger about an inch into the soil near the plant. If the soil is dry, it's time to water. If it's damp, leave it alone. Now let's talk about a mistake that often kills a plant before it even has a chance to grow. It's all about depth. We're talking about planting your strawberries too deeply. At the base of the plant, where the leaves and roots meet, there's a thick, woody nub. This is called the crown. The crown is the heart of the strawberry plant. It's where all new leaf and flower growth originates. Many gardeners, in their effort to secure the plant in the soil, bury this crown completely. This is a death sentence. When the crown is buried, it can't breathe and it quickly begins to rot. All of the plant's energy is stored there, and when it rots, the plant dies. Think of it like burying a person up to their neck in sand. They can't function. The visual cue is clear. If you can't see the little nubs where new leaves are forming, you've planted it too deep. Conversely, planting too high, with the tops of the roots exposed, will cause the plant to dry out and die. The perfect depth is when the soil line is exactly halfway up the crown. You should be able to see the top of it, but the base of it, where the roots begin, should be securely under the soil. The third deadly sin is a misunderstanding of nutrition. You see your plant and think, it needs food to make fruit. So you give it a big dose of a general purpose, all-around garden fertilizer. The problem is, most of those fertilizers are very high in one specific nutrient, nitrogen. Nitrogen is fantastic for promoting lush, green, leafy growth. For your lawn or your lettuce, that's perfect. But for strawberries, it's a disaster. When you feed a strawberry plant a high nitrogen diet, you are sending it a very clear signal. Forget about making babies, just grow a jungle. The plant will reward you with a magnificent display of huge dark green leaves, but you will get very few flowers and consequently, very few berries. You've created a beautiful strawberry bush with no purpose. Even worse, excessive nitrogen can actually burn the plant's sensitive roots, causing more harm than good. Strawberries need a balanced fertilizer, or one that is higher in phosphorus and potassium, the nutrients that promote flowering and fruiting. Always look for a fertilizer specifically formulated for fruits and berries. Ignoring the power of mulch is like trying to run a marathon barefoot. You might finish, but it's going to be painful, and your results will be terrible. Mulch is not just a decorative touch. For strawberries, it is absolutely essential. A 2 to 3 inch layer of clean straw, pine needles, or shredded leaves does several critical jobs at once. First, it acts as a blanket, insulating the soil. This keeps the shallow roots cool and moist during hot summer days and protects them from freezing in the winter. Second, it suppresses weeds, which compete with your strawberries for water and nutrients. Third, and this is a big one, it keeps the berries clean. Without mulch, your ripening berries will rest directly on the soil. After a rain, they become covered in mud and are far more susceptible to rot and attack from slugs and other pests. Imagine a side-by-side comparison. One bed with beautiful, clean red berries resting on a golden bed of straw, and another with muddy, half-rotten berries being eaten by slugs. The difference is mulch. It's a simple, inexpensive step that pays for itself 10 times over in a healthier patch and a bigger, cleaner harvest. Here is a mistake that stems from a basic misunderstanding of how the plant wants to reproduce. We are talking about letting the runners, or stolons, go completely wild. Runners are those long, leafless stems that the mother plant sends out, which eventually grow a baby plantlet at the end. This is how strawberries spread and create a patch. While this is natural, it requires a massive amount of energy from the mother plant. All the resources that could be going into developing big, juicy berries are instead being diverted into making babies. For new plants, especially in their first year, you should be ruthless. Snip off every single runner as soon as you see it. This forces the plant to focus all its energy on developing a strong root system and a healthy crown, setting it up for massive fruit production in the following year. It's like telling your plant, focus on yourself first. For established beds, a little management is key. Allow a few runners to root to replace older, less productive plants, but remove the rest. An unmanaged bed becomes a tangled, overcrowded mess of small plants competing with each other, resulting in tiny berries for everyone. You can do everything else right, but if you fail at this next step, your efforts are doomed from the start. We're talking about poor soil preparation. Strawberries are not fans of heavy, dense, waterlogged clay soil. It's their number one enemy. As we've discussed, their roots need to breathe, and clay soil holds too much water and has very little airspace, leading directly to root rot. They also demand a slightly acidic soil, with a pH between 5.5 and 6.8. Most garden soil that hasn't been amended is not in this ideal range. Before you even think about planting, you must prepare the bed. This means incorporating a generous amount of organic matter. We're talking about well-rotted compost, aged manure, or peat moss. This material works magic. It lightens heavy clay soils, improving drainage and aeration, and it helps sandy soils retain moisture. It also provides a slow release of nutrients and helps to balance the soil pH. Imagine trying to build a strong house on a foundation of mud. That's what you're doing when you plant strawberries in unprepared, heavy soil. Give them a foundation of rich, loamy, well-draining soil, and they will build a berry empire for you. This next mistake creates the perfect environment for disease and pests. It's overcrowding. When we first plant our little strawberry plugs, they look small and lonely, so we're tempted to place them very close together to make the bed look full. This is a huge error in judgment. Strawberry plants need their personal space. They require good air circulation around them to keep their leaves dry. When plants are packed together like sardines, the air becomes stagnant. After a rain or morning dew, the leaves stay wet for hours. This damp, humid environment is a 5-star hotel for fungal diseases, especially the dreaded gray mold or botrytis. This fungus loves those conditions and will quickly cover your beautiful berries in a disgusting, fuzzy gray coat. For a visual, picture a crowded concert versus a spacious park. In the park, everyone has room to breathe. In the concert, things get hot, sweaty, and diseases spread easily. It's the same for your plants. Proper spacing, typically about 12 to 18 inches between plants, allows the breeze to flow through, drying the leaves quickly and dramatically reducing the risk of disease. Finally, we have the mistake of neglect after the party is over. You've picked your last delicious berry of the season. The job is done, right? Absolutely wrong. For many gardeners, this is where the care stops, and it's a critical error that ruins the next year's harvest. This post-harvest period is when the plant is preparing for the following season. It's growing the flower buds deep inside its crown that will become next year's berries. Proper care now is essential. This process is called renovation, and it's what the pros do. For June-bearing varieties, this means mowing or trimming off all the old leaves about a week after the harvest ends. This removes diseased foliage and stimulates fresh, healthy growth. Next, you thin the plants, removing older, woody ones to maintain that crucial spacing. And finally, you fertilize them with that balanced, fruit-focused fertilizer to give them the energy they need to set a huge number of flower buds for next spring. Ignoring renovation is like running a marathon and then immediately sitting on the couch for 6 months and expecting to win the next race. It doesn't work that way. So, we've covered the 8 major ways gardeners are unknowingly sabotaging their strawberry harvest. Improper watering, planting too deep, using the wrong fertilizer, skipping mulch, letting runners take over, poor soil, overcrowding, and neglecting renovation. Any one of these can turn a promising patch into a barren disappointment. But here's the real twist, the ultimate secret that underpins all of these issues. The single biggest killer of strawberry plants isn't just one of these mistakes. It's inconsistency. Watering perfectly one week and then completely forgetting the next is far more stressful for the plant than being just a little off all the time. But the most surprising part? Many strawberry plants that look completely dead, with brown, shriveled leaves, can actually be saved if the crown is still firm and white on the inside. So don't give up hope. By correcting these mistakes and providing consistent care, you can turn things around. Thank you so much for watching. If this video helped you diagnose a problem in your garden, please hit that like button and subscribe for more tips. Now, for the big question, be honest. Which of these mistakes have you been making in your garden? Let us all know in the comments below.